was born to be a doctor. Like literally, my parents' primary appropriation goal was to create the next generation of Dr. Guptas. Ideally, fellow gastroenterologists to take over the family practice, but dermatology was also acceptable for the women. But also, as I went through grade school and won math competitions and science fairs and medaled in the Science Olympiad on a regular basis, it became clear to me that I really am born to be a doctor. I was really good at this shit, and I wasn't typically good at stuff like sports and social skills and reciprocated crushes. Not really my jam. But math and science and a surgeon's level of arrogance, now that I could do. So I ran with it. I did everything I could to set myself up to be the best doctor in the history of doctors. And that included spending the summer before my senior year of high school at pre-med camp. Now, I know that sounds silly, but this is a legit thing. It was a special summer program in Washington, D.C., specifically designed for young wannabe doctors. Or in my case, young meant-to-be doctors. Now, this is a very competitive program. Not that many people got taken, because we weren't going to be doing typical teenagery things. We were going to be observing surgeries and dissecting real human cadavers. So in order to get in, you had to be extra smart and extra responsible, like me. So I flew to DC, and when I got there, I finally met my assigned peer group within the program. It was pretty small, only 9 girls and 3 boys, and it was mostly non-Asian, which was a little surprising. Now, of course, everyone was super smart and talented and top of their classes, blah, blah, blah. But the one person in the group who impressed me the most was Kelly Gonzalez, AKA Speedy. And for the record, she gave herself that nickname, we didn't do that. Now, I thought Speedy was the shit, because not only was she brilliant enough to get into this program, she also drank and went to parties. She had a boyfriend. She had sex with that boyfriend. She was my freaking hero. I thought it was just an urban myth that a girl could be both smart and cool, but there she was, just doing it all. Clearly, I had so much to learn from her. So when Speedy decided that she was gonna pierce all of our ears, like the upper cartilage part, I was totally on board. She said she had done it before, and we were all basically doctors already. We had already examined real human hearts. We could handle some freaking ear cartilage, okay? So the whole group eventually got on board with Speedy's plan to home pierce all of our ears. So we went out to Claire's boutique to get a bunch of little ear studs, and then we went to CVS to get our medical supplies. Needles, obviously, alcohol wipes, and a lighter to sanitize the needles, gauze and Band-Aids just in case, and apples, because according to Speedy, apples had the best texture for catching the needle on the other side of the ear, which seemed totally logical to me. So we gathered up all of our supplies and went back to the dorm, upstairs to the common room where the kitchen was. But while we were gathering our supplies, Speedy mentioned that it had kind of been a while since she had done this, so the first one was going to be a little tricky. And then for some reason, everyone then hesitated to go first, which didn't make sense to me. This was Speedy we were talking about. It's Speedy we trust. So I stepped up. I numbed my ear with some ice, I sat down on the ground next to Speedy, and I took a nice soothing breath as Speedy shoved a sewing needle through my ear. And it hurt so much. But I have to admit, it was the least painful moment of the entire procedure. You see, the needle got stuck in the apple, so Speedy had to keep tugging at them to separate them. So that was fun. And then then she had to simultaneously pull out the needle while pushing in the earring, and she said that was the one thing she had yet to master. So that took like 20 minutes. It was just like a bloody ass mess. But when the bloodshed was all done and the earring was properly in place, it looked really freaking badass. So even though the operation was not the smoothest, everyone else still wanted to get their ears pierced. So one by one, all the other pre-med kids got their ears pierced. And don't worry, we used fresh needles for everyone. We weren't stupid. We knew about AIDS. So when camp was over, we all got to go home ready to leave the healthcare industry with our badass ear piercings. And when school started, I got to watch everyone's jaws drop as they saw Mom. That smart and cool holy grail was in my reach. I could feel it. But within a few days, my piercing started to ooze white pus and would bleed whenever I rotated the stud in my ear. So my mom and my friends kept saying, maybe you should take it out, maybe you should take it out. But like, they weren't doctors, and I wasn't about to sacrifice my hard-earned badge of coolness on the advice of amateurs. So I just relied on my perfectly sufficient medical instincts and left the earring in. But it just got worse. The pus eventually crusted over and turned into this weird cauliflower-shaped growth on my ear. Now obviously, you didn't actually have to be a doctor to know that it was clearly infected, but it took me forever to come to that conclusion. As good as I was at science and doctor stuff, I was unfortunately even better at social climbing. So my desperation for popularity kind of ruined my diagnostic skills. So that earring stayed in far longer than it ever should have. It wasn't until I chopped my hair short, like Rachel Lee Cook and She's All That, and didn't have anything to hide my cauliflower ear that I finally decided to take the earring out. I mean, it's just hard to brag about something that has a discharge. So I took the earring out, the infection went away, and my surgeon's level of arrogance plummeted all the way down to that of a foolish high schooler. Now, I don't know if Speedy ever became a doctor or not, but I can proudly say that I have actually saved many, many lives by not becoming a doctor.